Well, hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here today. I hope you've got your coffee with you. You can just relax and enjoy the conversation. I'm so excited to have a special guest today, Tammy Doering. Welcome, Tammy. How are you doing today?
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Miss Linda, for having me. I appreciate it so very much.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you, a guest and new friend. Uh, you are an Amazon #1 best-selling author in 11 categories. Congratulations, that's huge. You are president and CEO of Totally Pamper Me Day Spa and AvivSpa Dead Sea products. That's in Anniston.
Yes,
You're
ma'am. Alabama. Yeah, you're up in Canada.
yeah, and then you're in Alabama. Yeah,
Yes, yes, ma'am.
you're a cosmetic chemist, a,
Yes,
a board certified manicurist instructor, licensed barber, certified insanity instructor, and an age beautifully health and appearance coach. Your mission is to help women eliminate harmful chemicals lurking in their personal care products, achieving glowing skin, a healthy body, and have sustainable energy so they can live their best lives. That's
yes.
that's quite the bio. You're very successful here in what you're doing.
But,
Congratulations.
everything is in life is like a roller coaster. Some days you're up and some days you're down, but the best thing is I'm still here.
And
I'm
and you're
still
you're
standing and still going.
and you're succeeding in your lane. So that's great. And I'm sure you're helping a lot of women.
Well, that's one of my passions is to help women. I work a lot with women that have undergone cancer and are survivors and are looking at what possibility could be that their beauty products might have brought on this issue with their lives. And 9 out of 10 times, the answer to that one is yes, it did.
There's a
And
lot of chemicals in our skincare and cosmetics for sure. Yeah. We have to be very, very careful.
well, the problem with it is that we're so busy nowadays that we don't know. And for 26 years this year, I actually study in depth how these ingredients work and what their what's the word I'm looking for, what their contraindications are. That's the medical term for it. Where if I use this long enough, will this cause this? As a manufacturer of skincare products, we get what's called the SDS safety data sheets that actually show us when we're manhandling a raw material what if we see anything on there like hazmat, it's not even coming into the lab because we don't want hazmat materials here that are dangerous for
No,
even to be around, even if we wear gloves, goggles, aprons, vests, coats, whatever, masks, the whole 9 yards. It's still that possibility of a danger. It's like, well, they're going to put this on their skin. Why is this even okay? Right.
right,
So
right.
I do that. That's where my deep dive comes. But that deep dive started because I got so sick from having all these toxins in my body that I literally had to figure out what I was doing, how to get rid of it, and then how to keep it gone.
Right. So when did all this start, Tammy? Like when you were a teen, or what was your life like then?
Well, as a teenager, around the age of 18, I actually got seborrheic psoriasis, and I was battling losing my hair and going bald. Um, and so, when you reach your mid 30s and you're afraid that you're going to be bald naturally at 40, you try to figure things out. But during all of the seborrheic psoriasis and all of that at age 18, I was also a very insecure girl because I was a very large girl. I was a size back then, it was a 16, 18 was the size that I was. And, I was at a job and I kind of fell in love with the guy in the front, the pizza place I worked. He did the pizzas, I made the pizzas, and he put them in the oven. And he wouldn't look at me because I was huge, I was big. And I decided, well, you know what? I've got my eyes fixed on that one. I'm going to figure this out. And I became a closet bulimic. And I literally went from a size 18 down to a size 01. And I got the guy, got engaged to the guy, and then I ditched the guy because he wanted to do things before marriage that I wasn't willing to do. And, that should have been my first sign of, you know,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes changing your life for somebody else is not a good thing. But,
Mm-hmm.
when you're young and you don't know any better, I was kind of on my own. I was living with my dad at the time, and he worked all day and I worked at night. So 18-year-old, just have free reign of the apartment, do what I want to do when I want to do it, how I want to do it was not a good thing.
No.
But I maintained being a closet bulimic literally for 14 years. I did not reach out for any help at any time in my lifetime because I liked being a size 0-1. And I just, it became part of life. And I became a craftsman liar. I literally had every story for everything. My entire family, my husband and I, we got married when I was 24, and he had no idea. He thought I had IBS, is what I kind of claimed back then, because as soon as you get done eating, you disappear and go to the bathroom. And I was like, I don't want to be fat anymore. And so this is going to be my lifestyle. Well, then I ended up in my 30s, got pregnant. We lost the first baby, and more than likely it was due to the bulimia. And then we got pregnant again, and turned out I had a progesterone deficiency. And long story short, when the baby was handed to me, my daughter, my precious little girl, Jessica, the first thought in my mind was, I didn't want her to ever walk in on me getting sick. And God really had been working on me to tell my husband, but how do you tell your husband this? How do you tell this to anybody? It's like the most debilitating, embarrassing thing to ever say to anybody. I throw up my food because I want to.
Yeah.
Uh, and I'm sick and I've got problems, and it is an addiction. And
Yes, it is.
I have a highly addictive personality. I'm learning that about myself now, almost at age 61, that boy, I got to watch what I do. If I'm going to pick up something, it needs to be a healthy habit, not a bad one. And so I came clean and I asked him for help. And he said, my family has been asking me we had been married 9 years. He had no idea. I
Wow.
was that, I was that private and that crafty with what I was doing. I read all the different things about, how you could lose your teeth. So every time I got sick, I make sure I was brushing my teeth and swishing my mouth and, all the things, which you look back on it now and you go, why didn't you just quit it? But when you're in the middle of this, and Satan had me so tied
Yes.
to it, I was so bound, I could not break free.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
that's one of the beautiful things about the Bible, and it talking about you share with others, what you're going through, so that you find that accountability and you find strength when you're weak in somebody else, or you borrow their faith.
Mm-hmm.
I've been through so many things in my whole lifetime now, and I look back on it and I'm just thanking the good Lord, because when I was going through it, several movie stars died from eating disorders. Karen Carpenter,
I was just going to say Karen Carpenter was one. Yeah. Yeah.
and then the lady that was married to Gene Wilder, forgot her name, but she was on.
Gilda Radner?
Yeah, Gilda Radner. Yeah, she died from an eating disorder as well, and or had an eating disorder. I don't know that it killed her, but I remember when it killed Karen Carpenter.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, that's not going to be me. That doesn't apply to me. Fortunately, it wasn't me. But, one of the things that I do is I actually share what I've gone through with women's groups and mother daughters, especially because moms, they are crafty, and nobody really realizes some of this stuff. And you have to become a private investigator, and literally, if you care about your kid, don't, I'm not saying, just bully them, but I'm saying that you've got to find them help. If you suspect it, call them out on it, because sometimes, I was living in the fear of people hating me because, or thinking I was gross. So that's why
Fear
I
of
hid it.
judgment and shame can
Yes.
can make us hide. So what should people watch for in their family? Because it's with boys too now.
Well, excessive eating at the dinner table and then disappearing into the bathroom immediately afterward is your first sign. That is such a a state of the art step that happens with bulimics, because the first thought is they eat enough where it makes them so miserable that they want to get rid of it. That's at least what happened with me. I didn't start out that way. It was an accident. I had partied all night, ate a whole pizza, got miserable, and I got sick. And that triggered, when I got sick, the relief triggered in my mind, oh, you can eat a whole pizza and not gain weight. And that's when it began. It wasn't something I said. Nobody sets out to have these issues.
No.
Pick up one day, hey, I can't wait to have bulimia, or can't wait to be an alcoholic, or, become 300 pounds or higher. Nobody starts out that way. It crawls in very slowly, and then it grabs a hold of you and pulls you down.
So
And it was,
did
go
you
ahead.
did you find that your energy changed, or you weren't absorbing minerals, you were lacking vitamins, any of that issue?
Oh,
Show?
all of the above with that. But, back then I did not know what I know today about the importance of taking care of yourself. I was always in an abusive relationship with myself. I was either getting drunk, smoking 3 packs of cigarettes a day, or plus throwing up. I mean, that was a day to day episode with my life at that time.
That's an
And
interesting way of describing it. You were in an abusive relationship with yourself.
exactly.
That's a really interesting term. Yeah.
Well, self love back then wasn't ever talked about. You never had self love 40, 50 years ago. It was selfish to say that. And in reality, the Bible clearly says, love yourself, love your neighbor as yourself. Well, if you can't love you, how are you going to give
Hmm.
to anybody else
Hmm.
in a healthy way? But because I was abusing myself, thought that because I'm abusing myself, I'll do everything I can for everybody else, which then became a sicker cycle. So I had all of these on top of that. And then I'm giving, 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 and burning both ends against the middle. And sometimes the middle was on fire too. I was so dysfunctional that, all of these health issues started compiling. Fibromyalgia, lost all 10 fingernails, I losing my hair and going bald. I had all 10 toes had nail fungus. My skin looked like shoe leather because I baked in the Alabama sun as a kid with no, of course, sunscreen will kill you too. So,
Yep.
pick your poison.
Well,
Literally.
and the media really promotes this.
I tell you, the media, we are the emptiest, loneliest society ever because of the media. Because that social media, there's 17,000 takes to get the one perfect one. Then it's whipped through AI, and every blemish, everything is purified and erased.
Yeah.
And when you see the people, you don't even recognize them as their picture, because that's not what they look like.
No, the filter's been filtered.
Yeah, the filters are filtered, and it's just like, it's like crazy. And I've got mentors that I still watch, but I don't follow anymore because their message has gotten so distorted and sick. Like, one of them, she actually has had, I think since I've been following her since 2015, I think she's had 3 or 4 tummy tucks and facelifts and all of this stuff. But she sells exercise, and she sells diets, how to get rid of your belly fat. Well, she's had 3 tummy tucks, and the last one went bad. I'm like, what on earth?
Yeah.
Why are we still drawn to this? But because she looks so perfect, and we want to look perfect, and perfection is not what it's cracked up to be.
Well, and a lot of girls are asking for this type of surgery for a grad gift.
I know. And they're getting Botox in their 20s. Botox is a toxin.
Oh, yeah.
It's from botulism that paralyzes your whole body.
Yeah.
And, that was one of the reasons that I began my entire quest to make a completely 100% toxic free product for beauty care, because everything I was using in the name of beauty was full of it, just
Yeah.
full of all these nasties and these toxins. And women don't understand. And then they get breast cancer and they go, well, I don't know what caused it. More than likely, it's your bathroom.
Yeah.
You get in that shower with all these toxins, slathering all this stuff on you in the name of beauty, and your perfumes that are 4,000 toxic chemicals to get that scent. Women don't realize this stuff.
Yeah.
But here's an eye opener, because I study Europe, not and the US, for what the laws are. I follow European laws. Last year in 2023, Europe banned 1,100 cosmetic chemists or chemicals in beauty care. The US banned 11.
Oh my gosh.
1,100 versus 11.
Wow.
That's how bad the platform is here in the United States.
Wow.
And it's so sad, but women think because the bottle looks great, that model looks perfect, that's what I want, that it's okay. But women,
FDA approved.
oh yeah, let's not even go there.
Right.
Women use between 15 to 30 products every single day.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you pick up one of these products and they go, well, it's only in there at 1%. Okay, well, I got 15 to 30% going on me morning and night. When those toxins go into the lady's body, guess where they go? The belly fat, the visceral fat that surrounds right where your heart is at, right where your liver is and your gallbladder. And then we all have cancer cells. And when stress and not taking care of us triggers it, that becomes a flame that fuels those cancers and escalates them to heights that you can't even understand. And when I was so sick, God looked at, in my prayer time, I just looked up and I was like, please just take me home. I can't do this anymore. I can't live like this. And I heard, you're treating my temple like a shack out back. You've got to get rid of the junk.
Wow.
And that meant everything from cleaning up what I was eating, what I was, everything I was doing to my life had to get changed. And change for somebody that's OCD. And, I've gotten ditched the perfectionism. There is no perfect except Jesus. Thank you, God. But, you have to wake up to these things. And me listening to other people, those seeds get planted. They might not grow right now, but this seed that we're planting today very well could save some woman's life in the future
Oh,
because
definitely.
of this care that we have to reach you and help you find these answers. You have not because you ask not. And so I started asking.
And I'm
And
sure this message is going to hear is going to be reached. And for you that are listening, if you recognize anything in your daughters and in your children,
or yourself. A lot
yeah,
of
or yourself,
hide
yes.
this. We hide anorexia, we hide bulimia, we hide binge eating, because we don't want people to really know I've got this problem. But the most important thing you can do is to find somebody. And if you don't want to tell your family, find someone that has walked that road, that understands the battle, because that battle, when you go through it, you've got to have that help.
Yeah, it is
I
a battle.
actually,
It's a real
I had to
battle.
have my husband make my dinner plates, because what I would do, I would subconsciously, while I'm making dinner, eat. Then while I'm plating, eat, and then eat. So it was enough food to make me where I was so miserable, I would get rid of it. And so you've got to find what you're doing to yourself, and then you got to share that raw, nasty footage, so to speak, of your life with somebody that you can trust. If it's a best friend, if it's your mother, if you really love your mom and you want help, then go to her, because I can tell you, as a mom, we won't judge. What we want to do is help. We'll probably cry, we'll probably get mad, but the person we're going to get mad at is us, because we didn't see it way ahead of time. Or how was I so busy that I allowed this to happen to your life is how you would feel. If my daughter came to me and said, Mom, I'm bulimic, my daughter's come to me and said, Mom, I'm a binge eater, and so I'm like, what can I do to help? And
Yes.
she's like, I'm on this road, but I'm recognizing it, and I'm asking you to just kind of hold me accountable and ask me,
And it's important to forgive yourself as a mother, but forgive yourself as just as a woman, who has done whatever you've done, just to
Right.
forgive yourself and move forward.
Well, we see all this beauty in social media. And so we're probably right now in the world, this is probably the loneliest society ever, because we all see what we see on social media, and it's all a lie. Most of it took 17,000 shots to get that one, and then it's filtered and filtered again. And we just are just like, my life's not like that. What's wrong with me? And then you move into this depression, and that's where Satan gets you. He wants you there so that you stay anchored in your sin and don't move forward helping anybody else or being an influence on anybody else. Because number one, you're going to feel, who am I? If they knew, if they only knew.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the things I've discovered is that when you speak it out, you release yourself. That's exactly what happened to me when I finally told my husband. I felt this relief that I finally didn't have to lie about it anymore. I had to say, I have a problem and I don't know what to do about this.
And when we keep things hidden, it's covered in shame, and it's covered in all of our stuff. But when we release it, then God can, it's exposed, and it can be exposed to his light, where we can get healing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the healing takes a long time. It didn't happen overnight for me. I actually had to, tell him a couple of times, hey, I'm sorry I got sick, because your body reaches a certain point in the beginning, when you're trying to come out of it, that it's still rebelling. It wants that relief. And so you have to find that help. Anorexia is a completely different creature. They just don't eat. I couldn't go that route. Just go that route. I tried it. It's like, oh, that's boring. I'm making lighthearted of this disease, but
But it is an addiction too. Like you said, it's an addiction. It's a difficult one that people need support and honesty with it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I highly recommend whoever you're following for social media, take a look at, is everything on them so perfect? That means that they got their own problems. They actually have self-dysmorphia issues. They're probably getting all these surgeries. If they've got duck lips and nothing moves, and it's crazy. Women are getting cheek implants, butt implants, lip injections, Botox, all over the place. But here's the thing, you got to keep it up.
Yeah.
It's not one and done.
Well,
You have
no,
to keep going.
and the injections and the implants, that's a whole other game with toxins.
Oh, completely. I mean, and Botox ain't cheap. Now we're seeing it on, I don't know if yours is up there in Canada, if they're allowing it yet, but now I do my own Botox at home. Yay. Special. Now we got home injection kits. How about that?
Not sad.
It's scary, because what's happening then is now you can do it whenever you want to do it. And there's no telling, because Botox comes from botulism, which literally paralyzes you from the neck down. Literally, you get a can of pears that have botulism in them. And I had a client back in the day when I started all of this with the Dead Sea products. She came to me because he was getting decubitus ulcers on his backside. And I created a cream for her to use. And he got a can of pears that a neighbor made, and he ended up with botulism and was paralyzed from the neck down for 10 years, and then passed away that way. But now we'll inject it and be okay with it in our eyes and in our mouth and our sweat glands and, whatever. And this society has been duped to believe that herbs and natural are hocus pocus. and that the only thing we can do is medical. And I'm sorry, it's absolutely the opposite. It's just
Yeah.
like Revelation talks about the end times, the lies will be truth and the truth will be lies. That's
Yeah.
what we're being bombarded with in this society right now.
Yeah, with supplements and medical as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's bizarre. And you've got to go back to the roots. Make your own product. I don't know. Have you ever seen the movie, the documentary Blue Zones?
I don't think I have, Tammy.
Oh, you've got to check it out. One of my goals, and don't laugh, I want to be a centenarian. My goal is I've asked God to be 130, and because He tells us that we can reach 120, and I've asked for a 10-year extension. Now, I started taking care of myself in my 40s and 50s. And 50, I became a insanity instructor. So I've been teaching that now for 11 years this year.
I'm very curious. What is that?
Insanity, it's high intensity interval training. There's a company here in the US called Beachbody, and Shaun T created Insanity. And it is 2 minutes on, 30 seconds off. And you do that for 30 minutes. And what it does is, in the beginning, I used it for losing some weight, but I use it now not to lose weight, because your body plateaus. Your body will get used to it, and then you won't lose weight anymore, but you can maintain. But I use it for fighting aging, because
Okay.
at 61 almost, I can actually out burpee a football player. But you'd never believe that until you saw it because I teach class 5 days a week. And I took it on because God said it's that or you're going to the wheelchair with your fibromyalgia. You've got to get out of that comfort zone. But in the Blue Zone documentary, there's 7 zones that are in the United and that are throughout there's 2 in the US and then all over the world. But what they do, they are moving all day long. They're playing pickleball for 3 hours at 84 and 100 years old, because they do this daily. A body in motion stays in motion. And ladies, I don't care what you think, unless you literally are looking like a guy, you will never become muscle massive bound, no matter what you're doing. You've got to take supplements to get that stuff. So challenge that body that you've got, because you are strong. And that's one of the things that I tell my class all the time. I said, one baby step better than yesterday. One
That's good.
baby
Yeah.
step, not leaps and bounds, because you can't maintain that. But
Yeah.
if you go into your workout and go, well, I'm going to do that today. Like when we do push-ups, Wednesday night, we have, I call it the 300 club. We do 300 push-ups within the hour we're working out with strength and sculpting training. But we break it in gently, like in sets of 3 of 10. So by the time we're done, we've done 300. But now I've got them going. I'm going, okay, give me 2 full body. Give me 1 full body. Go on your knees, but see if you can do 1 today. Because then the body will remember. And, I'm up to being able to do 15 full each round because I've pushed it so much stronger.
Yeah.
But even it doesn't matter what your age is. You're never too late to start. Your body is resilient and it is so powerful. Don't take it for granted.
Yeah.
Cherish.
Yeah. And I still go back to that. I was treating my body like a shack out back. That is so profound, that comment.
It
It's,
was a life changer in my prayer time. And it was
yeah.
just, slap.
Well, and in all ways, with the cosmetic surgeries, with our food and our relationship with food, and the relationship with how we see ourselves, how we were created, it's all together in that one package. How are we seeing ourselves as the temple that He made, and how do we carry that temple? Yeah,
But that's the
that's
beauty
a
of
really profound statement.
well, having a relationship with Jesus can bring you out of anything. I am living proof for that. But when you do it on your own, you can't. You cannot do it alone. We
I
weren't made to be islands. We were made to be in community and helping
Yeah.
one another. And that's why I have such a passion for women that are isolated and feel that they, like women that are over 50 that have hit menopause, and they look in the mirror and they go, who is that? Oh my gosh, it's my grandmother. How did this happen? I was there,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you can turn it around with effort. Nothing happens overnight. And our society here in the United States is give me a pill and put me on a couch and, let me go to sleep and wake up a whole different creature. Even the pills have bad side effects. I was on them, I
Yeah.
had to get off of them. I was on the antidepressants and I was on the Lyrica and I was on all these things. And this was 26 years ago, walking zombie, dysfunctional, could not hardly get out of bed.
Yeah.
And it was like, you got to finally reach the bottom of the barrel and go, I've had enough.
So what about fasting? Do you want to share about any fasting experiences you've had?
Oh, well, I just went through the most amazing fasting time in January this year. My church, Church of the Highlands, most amazing church in the world to me. It saved my life and my husband too. I might cry because this is so fresh. Sorry. Yesterday marked 1 month. We've had no alcohol. And we have been together 39 years this year. We got together drinking, and we have drank our whole lives together. And when the fasting came up, I'm sorry, I don't know why this is killing me. It's embarrassing, but
No,
it can maybe save one woman, because my go-to was wine. It was my best friend. It was there for a good day. It was there for a bad day, a rainy day, a beach day. Wherever I was, I carried wine with me. If I traveled, I had the cab driver make sure he stopped, and I had a bottle of wine a day at the hotel because I didn't want to spend $14 a glass in a hotel, because I knew how much I would drink and I wanted to save money. But when we started this fast, January the 7th, God told us, I want you to give up wine and TV at night. And so we had done it last year. We started with the church last year, but on Friday, I always came up with an excuse. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, those were off days of the fast. It was okay. So this year, I said, you know what, God? I said, I don't know how to do this, but I'm giving it to you 100%. And I gave it to him 100%, and so did my husband. During that time, we started reading. We had been reading, but kind of quit. But we started picking up at night because no TV. This book called This Naked Mind. I'm sorry, my eyes are leaking.
It's good.
But I picked up this book called This Naked Mind. And in the book, she revealed this woman was such a horrible alcoholic that she would drink enough to make herself throw up before bed so she wouldn't wake up with a hangover. I never reached that point, but I was consuming in about 3 or 4 hour time, about a bottle and a half equivalent. And so
that was every night?
Every day for my whole life. Back when we were young, it was vodka every day. Then we shifted down to wine. But one of the things that happened in this book, my husband has been diagnosed with 4 different cancer anomalies because of his parents' genetics. Well, one of the things it talks about is for women, 3 glasses of wine a week increases our susceptibility to breast cancer by 15%.
Wow. And wine is so social.
Oh,
It's like
that's the other thing she
women,
talks about in the book is every movie you see, there's subliminal messages. The men are drinking highballs and whiskey, and the women are drinking wine, or the couples are drinking wine.
Yep.
It's like, when's the last time you've been to a milk pairing dinner?
Well, even the Hallmark movies have wine.
Of course.
And it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Exactly. I mean, and that's what I always used to say, 5 o'clock somewhere, but I always made sure I worked out. Even in Florida, the answer was you cannot go out and have anything until you get your exercise in. That was at least my saving grace for all of that. But when I started learning about the lies, and here's the funny part, I won't put alcohol in any of my Dead Sea products because of how bad it is for my skin, but I'll suck it down every night. What is wrong with that?
Yeah.
And did you know that your glass of wine is the same ethanol that's in your gas tank? You're drinking that. You're drinking poison. and it's glamorized. And this is what Satan does to it. And he literally glamorizes this for our lives. She says, if you can't imagine your life without something, you have a true addiction. And that was where I was. I couldn't imagine Jesus being more important than my wine time. And so I said, okay, I got to give it to you because I can't do this on my own. And in that time, we learned so much. And when I learned something, I never forget it. I've got one of those memories. And I would now, every time I see the movie, because we're back watching like a 1-hour show or something at night before bed. But I see the movies and I told Jim, I said, yeah, that's poison. Don't do it. And I finally had to have the conversation with him when we were coming off last Saturday. I said, honey, I got to have a conversation with you. I don't want to go back to drinking every day of my life anymore. I feel good when I wake up because I was waking up hating myself. Sometimes I'd drink enough to pick a fight. I would definitely have my inhibitions drop so low that I would eat whatever I felt like eating. And you don't have any self-control. It controls you and it forces you to do things right before bed when you're going to sleep that ruin your body. And now I wake up and I'm going, yeah, another day, I made it. And then yesterday I was like, happy anniversary. And he goes, for what? I said, it's been a month today. He goes, wow. But that's when you know God's healed you because I had to think about it. And here's another secret people don't know. I smoked 3 packs of cigarettes a day back in the day. I was a chain smoking alcoholic that was, just and bulimic all at once. And why I'm still here. Thank you, Jesus. We just got to help other women find these answers. Is it embarrassing? Yeah, it's so embarrassing. But the beauty is God doesn't give up.
And he makes a message out of our mess.
Yeah.
Which is what you've done.
Well, I haven't. He has. I've been willing to be obedient. And that's where the answer is. You have to decide. I have a little saying now, it's decide not to slide, because that is key to your life. That self-control, you have to decide, okay, I'm never going to skip exercise again. I'm always going to make sure I go to church. I'm not going to pick up that bottle again, because here's the problem. I know, because the Bible tells me if I get rid of the sin and I bring it back in, it's coming back 7 times worse, which means it'll take me out. I got a goal, 130. So I can't allow that back in my life anymore. I just don't want to have it back. And now, because I'm beginning to love this woman the way I'm supposed to, there's a new sense of, I'm sorry, I don't know why this is so emotional, a new sense of purpose
and respect
for moving forward.
And you
have
self-respect. Yes.
Yeah. The self-esteem is so much higher now, because that day-to-day win is so exciting to me, because now I can see it had such a grip, but now I've let Jesus take the wheel and let him lead me and guide me and help me with what I'm supposed to do here.
Wow.
Sorry, this is way more than emotional than I thought. They need to probably cut it off, because you said something about 40 minutes.
This has really been encouraging, Tammy, because there's a lot of women who are dealing with a lot of these different issues that you talked about today.
Well, here's the other thing, everything in life is it's 5 times more expensive than it's ever been.
Yeah.
And they've made alcohol not go up in price. If you notice that, it sort of stays way down here. Why? They want you to be a drunk. They want you to be addicted. Food, organic food, costs a heck of a lot more than one of those great big bottles of wine for $9.78 at Sam's Club.
Yeah.
And that got us through a night, each one of it, but by the time you add that up in a year, that's a really good vacation somewhere that's killing you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm being quiet now.
Well, I just appreciate your honesty and your vulnerability in sharing all of this, Tammy. like I said, there's women that aren't willing to share yet that they're walking in this.
I
And
didn't want to share. I wanted to share this, honestly, the embarrassment of it all, being a Christian woman. But, just because I'm saved by Jesus doesn't mean that means Satan's going to attack me even harder.
oh, you bet.
And so that means that I have to rely on him even more than ever before and walk uprightly as best I can. And when I stumble and fall, pick myself up and go to him and repent. But repent means to stop doing what you're doing and go the other way.
That's
I
right.
would always ask for forgiveness, but I keep going back to that trail. And I don't have that desire. He took it away because I kept hearing all these stories like, God, why aren't you taking that away from me? But it was because I wasn't willing to go through the fire to come out on the other side. When I was hitting the hard time, I caved. And this time there was no caving. And this time I realized, oh my gosh, I didn't die last night. I made it
And,
through a night. I made it
and
through a Friday night with no wine.
yeah, and it can become an idol too.
Oh,
Definitely.
it is an idol. And that's
Yeah.
what he told me. He said, you idolize that wine bottle. And and what the words were, you idolize the wine bottle and the boob tube more than me. And I was like, whoa, that is not who I want to be anymore. And
Right.
so when you lay it at the altar, but don't go pick the baggage back up. Don't pick it back up. Walk away and go the opposite direction. And if you can't do it on your own, but see, my husband and I are a team and we own our businesses together. We are very unusual. Most people don't live together 365, 24/7, but we do. And we always have been like that. And so we are each other's rock and soulmates. And I'm not telling you we haven't had our fights and we've almost come, very close. I can't tell you how many times in 39 years to calling it quits, but it's like, you know what? I don't want anybody else. So why don't we figure out how to make this work? So
Yeah.
we're actually there for each other at all times and not always been pretty, but it's still a beautiful thing when you look back over what God's done with our lives. And now we're involved with the freedom teachings and stuff in our church and having small groups and learning how to make our own group next year. And, God's got a plan. Just listen to what he's telling you because he'll never tell you wrong. I heard him tell me this for decades, but I finally had to decide, all right, if you really want to be 130, you got to give up some things now to make it there.
Yeah.
And what I'm giving up, I'm actually getting life in return. I'm finding new things and new creativity and ways to, do more things at night. Now I want to pick up playing the guitar and singing.
Well, with clarity of mind.
Yes. And
Clarity
clarity
of
of mind is
mind.
a beautiful
And
thing.
yeah, and he is a God of life. He brings life.
Amen.
So yeah.
And
Tammy, thank you so much for sharing. Just
well,
really
thank you.
appreciate
I hope you
it.
can edit it down.
I'm going to be putting some links below when I post this. So for you who are watching, to check out Tammy's business, AvivSpa, yeah, just check online for her business and her book. Yeah,
And how about we give them a discount code if they're interested? We can ship to Canada. We can't do flat rate shipping to Canada, but we ship all over the US with flat rate shipping. And I'll give a discount code of 15% off. We'll use her story and that'll give them, they use that as their discount code and that'll give them 15% off the products. If you have questions about the products, we're working right now, starting tomorrow, on doing videos on every product, ways to use it and stuff along these lines that'll go on the website. But a lot of people they get on the website and there's so many products and all these products every formula was given to me in a dream of how to cure an issue that I was going through. And my book goes through every single nightmare between me, my clients, my family, and friends of the way that all of these different things have actually brought restoration and healing to the entire body. But you
wow.
can email us direct at info@AvivSpa, or there's a place on the website even to do that as well.
Well, thank you, Tammy. That's very generous with the 15% discount for people who are watching today. Thank you so much. And looking forward to hearing the rest of your story.
It'll keep going. Got another 70 to go.
Thanks
Thank you
again.
so much for, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye for now.